Halo.
Hello, my name is Secio Kurnianto.
Hello. My name is Dinda Nur Oktaviani.
Halo, my name is Salwa Rastra Vidyatama.
Hello, my name is Stevani Aigi.
Halo, my name is Widya Rachmawati.
Hello, our group would like to talk about sensitivity and risk analysis with the case study of Palembang LRT. First of all, we should talk about the background of our case study. Palembang is capital city of Sumatera Selatan province and one of the metropolitan cities in Indonesia. The geographical position that places Palembang beside Missouri River makes that Palembang city can be reached by overseas ship, even though Palembang city is not a coastal city. It really helps with the economy of Palembang city. In line with that, one of the mission of the Palembang government is to create an innovative, creative, and competitive democratic economy. But a growth in economy have to be supported by a good transportation system. Nowadays, Palembang city already has an international airport that opens up connectivity in addition with the harbor around Missouri River. On the other hand, Palembang government also have made some improvement in land transportation. By the decree on 2008 about the termination and replacement of city bus and similar transportation, vehicle with mass rapid transit bus named Transmusi. The government showed that it has a commitment about improving the land transportation system. But considering development of the city that also bring population growth, other mass transportation alternatives are needed for more planned city planning.
To support the mission that has been declared, the government of South Sumatra Province will the LRT as one of the mass transportation with medium transport capacity. With this LRT, city planning can be well planned as an effort to anticipate the density of roads in the city. The existence of LRT transportation can serve passenger transportation more adequately. South Sumatra Province has conducted a feasibility study on the implementation and construction of the LRT in the designated corridor. The feasibility study covers several aspects, namely project feasibility, technical feasibility, organizational feasibility, operational feasibility, and financial feasibility, as well as government and private cooperation schemes. The resulting feasibility study is expected to be taken into consideration before the South Sumatra provincial government steps towards making a cooperation contract to the private sector. The construction of the LRT became a priority government project, in line with the planned implementation of the Asian Games in DKI Jakarta Province and Palembang City. Therefore, in the context of accelerating the implementation of the Palembang LRT project development and referring to Presidential Regulation Number 38 of 2015 concerning government cooperation with business entities in the provision of infrastructure, it is necessary to prepare investment cooperation project, specifically the completion of the final feasibility study document and preparation of auction document. The result of this activity are expected to be one of the references for the implementation of the auction of LRT service infrastructure providers in the city of Palembang.
I'd like to inform you about the purpose and goals of this work. The purpose of this work is to review the document of preliminary pre-feasibility study or outline business case of the Palembang LRT project to enter the transaction stage. The goals of this activity is to review the outline business case, the final business case, investment auction document, pre-qualification document, bidding documents general, and the draft cooperation agreement of Palembang LRT project so that it meets the provisions of the Triple P project. Specifically, the goals of this activity are: first, update and ensure the validity of the initial review; second, confirm the readiness of the cooperation project and market interest; third, develop a detailed draft output specification; fourth, develop a tariff structure; fifth, ensuring risk allocation, mechanism of implementation of government support and government guarantees and financing structures; sixth, prepare a business entity placement plan, including the business entity strategy. 7. Prepare the term sheet of the cooperation agreement. And the last is to identifying the initial environment impact. Sensitivity analysis. I like to tell you about sensitivity analysis concept. Sensitivity analysis is a review of the impact the change in selected project inputs, costs or benefits, or a combination of this. Sensitivity analysis involves in calculating the cash flows under the best estimate of input variables and then calculating the consequences of limited change in the value of these inputs. Steps of sensitivity analysis consist of: first, selecting those variables to which the investment decision may be sensitive; second, determining the possible extent of variation of these variables from the base case; third, calculating the effect of different value of these variables on the project result by recalculating the project NPV and IRR; fifth, interpreting the result and designing mitigation action. Sensitivity analysis consists of variables. There are output demand, output price, capital cost, timing, and demand.
Output of the sensitivity analysis generally include: first, showing change in the internal rate of return and the net present value for a range of independent or correlated changes; second, showing ratio of the percentage change in the net present value to the percentage change in the variable tested; third, switching value for each key variable, showing its value; fourth, the percentage difference between the switching value and the base case value for each key variable. There is a highlight of this analysis if the result of this analysis could be taken to mitigate or reduce the likelihood of such variation from the base case. Such measure can include long-term supply contract for key inputs. As Akabib said, the sensitivity analysis is an essential and easy means of evaluating the vulnerability of the project to likely future deviation from the base inputs estimates. It can also greatly help in assessing the extent of overreach in the project and the particular input that significantly affect the project outcome. Furthermore, Goods, Norhart, and Scasher say that there is a disadvantage of this analysis if those measures not analyzed constancy is assumed, because this assumption is often unrealistic as input values seldom change independently.
Let's jump to financial ratio concept. Capital budgeting or investment appraisal is the planning process used for determine whether an organization's long-term investment, such as development projects, is feasible or not. Ratio financial consists of: first, net present value or NPV; second, internal rate of return or IRR; third, payback period; fourth, benefit cost ratio or BCR. Net present value. The NPV method is used in capital budgeting to analyze the profitability of an investment or project. NPV compares today's dollar value with the same dollar value in the future, taking into account inflation and returns. That is the formula of the NPV value. This is the NPV of Palembang LRT project. The NPV value is 163.32 million US dollars. Internal rate of return. IRR is a discount rate that is often used in capital budgeting, which makes the NPV value of the cash flow of the particular project is zero. The higher IRR of the project means the more attractive the project to be implemented. This is the formula of IRR value. And this is the IRR of Palembang LRT project. The IRR value is 8.75%.
So let's talk about benefit-cost ratio. Benefit-cost ratio is an indicator used in the formal field of cost-benefit analysis that tries to summarize overall value of the money spent on the project. Benefit-cost ratio is the ratio of the benefits of a project expressed in financial terms relative to cost of the project. In addition, all benefit and costs must be stated in the present value. The benefit-cost ratio of the Palembang LRT development is 1.09, which means the benefit of the Palembang LRT development project greater than the operational costs incurred. When we talk about that present value, internal rate of return, and benefit cost ratio, it tells us that the calculations were made to showing that the model assumption in the Palembang LRT development project result in a reasonably good investment scenario. This was shown through first, internal rate of return value is quite high, which is equal to 8.96%, and is above the determined cost of capital, which is equal to 4.20%. The benefit cost ratio value is above 1, which is 1.11, and it indicates that the benefit obtained are greater than the cost incurred by the project. And the net present value is also positive and quite high at $175.73 million. In addition to the moderate assumption, conservative assumption, as you can see the table on my left, that are the investment of Palembang LRT development is $30 million per kilometer, passenger value per day from 90,000 to 100,000, and fares range from 15,000 rupiah to 20,000 rupiah. And this shows that the result of investment scenario that are not good. This is indicated by the small internal rate of return value and below the specific capital cost, which is 4.20%. And then, in addition, the benefit cost ratio value is below 1, and which means the cost is greater than the benefit obtained, and the net present value is also less than 0. This shows that the investment of $30 million is too large for the implementation of the Palembang LRT development project.
Okay, next I will continue the explanation about the sensitivity analysis of development LRT in Palembang. The result of the calculation of optimistic assumption from the sensitivity analysis can be seen in the table. The table is right here. From the table, can we see that the amount of investment is $15 million per kilometers. The volume of passenger per day range from 90,000 to 110,000, and the tariff set at 25,000 shows the result of an excellent investment scenario. This was indicated by the large IRR value and above the specific capital cost from the table here. BCR value above 1 indicate that the benefit obtained are greater than the cost incurred, as well as a very large NPV value. However, what need to be questioned and examined from this table is whether the investment value of $15 million per kilometer can meet the quality and timely development of LRT, and whether a tariff of 25,000 will bring potential daily passenger volume of 90,000 110,000.
That we should talk about theory of risk analysis. Risk analysis can be defined as systematic use of available information to identify hazard and to estimate the risk to individuals, property, and the environment. There are two kinds of risks depending on the objective of the analysis. It is qualitative or quantitative risk analysis. The first is quantitative risk analysis, or QRA. Is a risk analysis that provides a numerical estimate for probabilities and or consequences, sometimes along with associated uncertainties. This risk analysis usually comprises of the following steps. First, formulation of decision model. Second, determination of the probability distribution for the input measure that are assumed to be uncertain. Third, inclusion of dependency between uncertain input measure. Fourth, calculation of probability distribution for the target measure. And fifth, interpretation of the result. The other is qualitative risk analysis. Qualitative risk analysis is that use word or descriptive cell to describe frequency of hazardous events identified and the severity of potential consequences that may result from these events. One of the ways to show a qualitative risk is through a risk matrix. Risk matrix often contains the following columns: name and the description of the risk, consequence in the case of the risk occurs, indication of the probability occurrence, indication of the consequence on cost or revenue, grade of risk, product of probability and consequence, proposed allocation, be it to public, private or share, proposed management and mitigation measure, and lastly, additional remarks.
Based on the previous explanation, it can be seen that in conducting risk analysis, it can be done in two ways, namely qualitatively and quantitatively. The Palembang LRT project used a qualitative risk analysis. The following is a risk table from the Palembang LRT. First, we will discuss location risk. From the table beside, we can see that there are various risks that may occur ranging from safety in the location, environmental pollution around the site, ownership of land status, certificates, and others. In this case, the possibility of the injured parties are public and private. Appropriate mitigation strategies to overcome these problems are by implementing good work safety procedure, compliance with good environmental impact studies, and validating land tenure. The second risk is regarding design, construction, and operation tests such as delays in construction completion, increase in construction costs, and design error. The parties involved are public and private. Mitigation that can be done to overcome these problems is to use a reliable contractor who has experience in working on similar project and price escalation agreement in the work contract. The third risk is regarding sponsorship carried out by private parties. So the mitigation undertaken is choosing credible sponsor. The fourth risk discuss financial risk, including not achieving financial closures due to uncertain market condition, fluctuation in currency exchange rate and interest rates, and others. The parties involved are private. Risk mitigation that can be done is by coordinating well with potential and credible lenders, making instruments to protect value, financing carried out in rupiah, and so on. Further risks are operational risks such as the availability of facilities, social and cultural risks of the local community, project management failures, and others. The losses in this project are dominated by the private sector. Furthermore, risk mitigation is carried out by selecting reliable contractors and operators, implementing community development programs, periodic evaluation of project implementations, and much more.
Okay, next I will continue the explanation about risk analysis. Nah, in this table that we can see, the 6 risks of LRT Palembang project is income risk. From the table, we can see that there are various risks that may occur, starting from changes in demand projection, revenue projection error, failure collection of payment, and so on. In this case, the possibility of the injured are public and private. Nah, to anticipate this risk, there are various mitigation that can be done, including by conducting survey, subsidies, and creating good performance. Nah, next, the 7 risks refers to the network connectivity risk. At this risk, The possibility of authority in development doesn't keep promises for development to be carried out. This risk will primarily harm to the public. Risk mitigation that can be done is by applying good work standard, monitoring performance, and understanding good contract. Next, the 8 risks that may occur is related to interface risk. The risk that may result from this is the difference in the quality of work produced differs by the government and the BU or badan usaha. This will harm the public and private. So the mitigation can be done, namely by doing the work in accordance with the contract regarding the standard or method used in development. Next, the 9th risk is political risk. Political risk refers to currency risk, regulatory change, or the approval of agreement. From this, the majority that will be harmed are the public. Mitigation that can be done, namely in a different way. For example, concerning currency risk can be done by taking action on those domestic financing, foreign financing account, or loans to the central bank. Next, the 10th risk is for majority. This risk is more direct to the emergence of natural disaster and social disaster, such as war and riots. Of course, in this case, it will both parties, public and private, was injured. In this case, the mitigation measure that has been determined is to carry out insurance if possible, or each party can terminate the contract when the threatening condition take place. The last risk, which is the 11th risk regarding asset ownership. Asset risk can be in the form of a decline in the value of asset, the value of asset transfer, or business transfer. In this case, the possibility of being harmed is private sector. For this reason, the mitigation determined is to make insurance and feasibility study that are good and complete.
So let me make a conclusion for sensitivity analysis and risk analysis from the internet rate of return value of 47.47% and the present value is 29%, and it shows that the Palembang LRT development project is considered feasible. In addition, when we view from the value from the benefit cost ratio, it shows that the benefit cost of Palembang LRT development project are greater than the operational costs incurred. From the case of Palembang, a qualitative risk we use which 11 risks that might arise over the construction of this project were determined, namely location risk, design risk, construction, and the task operation, risk sponsor, financial operation, expenditure risk, network support, interface risk, political risk, and first major risk and the asset ownership risk. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your attention. Dah.
Thank you for your attention. Bye.